Welcome back and Happy New Year. It seems a little surreal that this week's chapel service is being beamed into your places of isolation, from the boarding houses to a hotel in Victoria, from your homes on the island to other safe and secure locations across BC. 2020 is behind us, thankfully. I wonder if you were packing a time capsule for 2020 to bury somewhere on campus, what defining Shawnigan items would you put in it? And what in 100 or 1,000 years' time a visitor from another planet or archaeologist would interpret from your selected items? I would select a picture and definition of a Zoombie. Here's a photo of MCB zoomed out this morning. Mrs. Miranda would select a bottle of hand sanitizer. And of course, Mrs. Samuel would select a faux leopard skin face mask. What would you choose? 2020 has undoubtedly been a period of polarization, uncertainty, and insecurity. It's been a period of desocialization, physical distancing, quarantine, disconnection, an artificial world of online interaction, border closures, strict protocols, loneliness, school closures, and much more. News from Washington, D.C. last week was disturbing. We reached out immediately to express our support to each of you with ties to the US. The civil unrest and escalated tension between protesters and police may have left some of you feeling unsettled. With many of you away from your families and in isolation as you prepare for campus life, I've also asked advisors to step forward to be in personal contact with those for whom this news hits close to home. Looking back on last term, I realized that together, as students and staff, we knocked it out of the park with a term built on reimagination. You as students knocked it out of the park with your resilience, commitment to the word shirt and its theme of adapt, and its definition of cultivating flexibility in the face of uncertainty. One governor wrote to me just before Christmas to say, "I'm amazed how you all have turned this pandemic into one of the most creative periods in the school's history." And so together, as a community we have. We should be proud of what we have achieved so far. And this term, we are stepping into the light. Some of you will have noticed the framed picture outside Mitchell Hall of the Shawnigan stag, gifted to us by the First Nations artist Randy Cook for our centenary in 2016. In the artist's explanation of the story behind the image, he tells us that the black border on the left side and along the bottom represents the past and any associated negativity. The red represents the power of us as a community. The stag is caught in mid-air, leaping away from the black and into the light of the moon. The image speaks to the future of Shawnigan, renewal, and an encouragement to take a leap of faith. Each day here on campus, it is getting lighter, and I know that by pulling together, we can overcome the challenges before us. COVID-19, in many ways, has provided so many opportunities for us here at Shawnigan to imagine our world anew. I quoted the Indian novelist Arundhati Roy in my Christmas message to you all. She perceptively describes the pandemic as a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. And I saved this bit for the beginning of this term, as she goes on to encourage us to walk through the portal lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world. This is not to say that the traditions, rituals, community spirit will change at Shawnigan. We will preserve them at all costs, but we do need to prepare the school and the individuals within it for the post-pandemic world ahead. Our past has undoubtedly shaped us, and we're grateful for that, but at the same time, our approach is to be in the here and now and excited as to what lies ahead. I firmly believe that for me, the 4 C's, curiosity, compassion, community, and courage, define Shawnigan, past, present, and future. Conversation and authentic personal engagement underpins the 4 C's, and we do our very best to give undiluted attention to those around us. In essence, all of us are committed to inspiring the best in each, to create the best for all. As you know, we've made the bold decision to remove spring break and to run our terms 2 and 3 back to back. For those of you feeling a bit wobbly or a little homesick at the prospect of the calendar ahead, we will support you to the very best of our ability. As restrictions soften and the vaccine begins to be distributed, we hope that we can start to welcome parents to campus in a safe and controlled way. We've lots of ideas about how to make these terms exciting, from Lunar New Year celebrations to inter-house events, from special sporting events to the remote possibility of house cohort ski trips to Mount Washington, if safety protocols allow. We're working on giving our grade 12s an extraordinary program and send-off, and we know that they will lead from the front in terms of inspiring those around them in these challenging times. I'm determined that we're going to have a lot of fun along the way, but we need to pace ourselves, support each other, and carve time for rest and recovery. Please do pass on your good and inventive ideas for events to your advisor or house director. But first we must focus on re-establishing our safe bubble. With increasing cases on the island and in schools, I cannot emphasize enough how important the safety protocols are in the next few weeks as we get back up and running. Please, please be mature, responsible, and super vigilant. If we get this wrong, we risk closing the campus. And if we get this right, we can look forward to a wonderful time between now and late May, and then 3 glorious months of a summer break. You might have been wondering during this reflection, where is our headmaster? Where is that green sofa? Well, I am here in the downstairs of the recently redesigned Friesen Center as a special treat for you, and following some inspiration from an entrepreneurial class, a staff team has been working tirelessly over the Christmas break to create a special space for you in recognition and celebration of how you have risen to the challenges of the pandemic. We're building a coffee bar which will be run by staff baristas, and we look set to launch it later this month. We're looking for a name of the coffee bar. At the moment, the working title is The Noble Duke, in recognition of the long service and dedication of 2 teachers who retired last summer, Mr. Noble and Mr. Ducalo. We're open to other names. Please do pass on ideas for a name and a logo to Miss Salzberg as soon as possible. Finally, some of you will have watched the Netflix series The Last Dance, released last year, which chronicles the 1997-98 basketball season of the Chicago Bulls and the remarkable career of Michael Jordan. I liked Michael Jordan's advice in one episode. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it. Let's continue together to figure out how successfully to climb this pandemic wall, and let's make sure that we provide a special and unforgettable last dance for our grade 12s as Shawnigan students. Good luck with the term ahead. Over and out from the Noble Duke.
Hello everybody, Happy New Year, and welcome back to those of you who are on campus, and looking forward to seeing the rest of you soon. In fact, looking forward to seeing you all in person very soon. So as you know, I usually, very often anyways, end my little talks with a cheesy quote of some kind. The reason is, of course, that I don't really know how to end these things otherwise, so that's usually why I have a cheesy quote at the end. Today I want to just let you know I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to have a cheesy quote at the end of this talk. I'm going to change things up. I'm going to have a cheesy quote at the beginning. So the quote comes from Lord of the Rings. Gandalf and Frodo are talking about the discovery of the evil ring, and Frodo says, "I wish that it hadn't happened in my time." And Gandalf says, "Well, a lot of people feel that way, but you can't do anything about that. All we can do is live in the times that we're given." So a lot of people these days say, I wish it wouldn't have happened in my time. The it, of course, being the pandemic. But as Gandalf says, all we can do is live in the times that we've been given. The times that, admittedly are fraught with lots of uncertainty and frustration. So how do we do that? How do we live in the times that we've been given? And particularly with the uncertainty and the frustrations that we have all experienced. Let's be honest about it. So I just wanted to talk about both those things for just a moment. Uncertainty, by definition is something that we can't do much about because it's uncertain. The future is uncertain, but the future is always uncertain. It's just that these days, the illusion that we can control the future is even more absurd than it usually is. We can never control what the future will bring. What can we do? We can embrace the possibilities of detaching ourselves from this crazy illusion that we can control the future. This time gives us a chance to really become better at being open to whatever the future is going to bring. And there's some things to keep in mind as well about that the future being uncertain, it doesn't mean that it's going to be bad or good. And in fact, there's no point really in judging what comes to us. All we really can do is prepare ourselves by being the people that we want to be now, by being the best people we can be. We can think about who we want to be in the future and be that person now, because there isn't really, we really can't determine who we're going to be in the future without being that person in the present moment. So, the uncertainty of life is not necessarily a bad thing, although it certainly creates some challenges and sometimes it creates some anxiety for us. And those things we just have to deal with. We have to learn how to be more detached, more open, and as I've said before, more hopeful about the future. But it all really comes down to who we are right now. The other thing that we've all experienced a bit of is frustration. And, hopefully, as my AP psychology students will tell you, the definition of frustration is the experience that we have when our goals, the things we want to do, are hindered or blocked somehow. And so really it comes down to, I think, the goals that we do have, the plans that we do have. Of course, this time of year, as we enter a new year, we're all making plans. And what COVID, I think, is teaching us is that we need to make plans that are in sync with what is going on. We need to make plans that are reasonable plans that are open, that are flexible, and we have to hold those plans lightly. We have to learn how to deal with the changes that happen nowadays all the time. All the preparations that we make that are thwarted by COVID or by other things these days. So, COVID is a good teacher. It teaches us a lot of things. And as we begin a new year, we want to enter that year holding our plans lightly, preparing ourselves for the future by being who we want to be and who we know that we should be right now. So, I just want to say thank you to the students. You have been wonderful this year. And I want to also say that, especially I suppose to the senior students, to the grade 12s, that one of the big opportunities for this year is to really shine, as students in the face of the challenges that we all have. And, you're already creating a legacy, I would say, as a class, as a grade 12 class, of being really one of the remarkable classes that this school has ever seen. And I want to thank you for the support that you've given to the staff and the contributions that you're making to the school. I did have a whole bunch of quotes I could end with, but I promised I wouldn't, so that's the end. Thanks. See you later.